distance in the light, vibration of a thundercloud.
Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and this is the My Sober Addiction podcast. Getting back on a regular schedule. You know, originally, I had meant to do these twice a week, but it didn't take long at all to figure out that is a lot more work than I imagined it would be. It is a labor of love, and I would love to be able to do these, every day. That would be fantastic. And the actual recording of a podcast episode is not that hard. It's the editing and all that. And of course, you try not to be too terribly redundant with what you're talking about. But at the same time, there is a point of this podcast. I mean, obviously, you can tell from the title, My Sober Addiction. It is about being, sober. I guess it kind of implies being addicted to being sober. So anyway, one thing that I have pushed a lot on this podcast is my mantra. I am now happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. And that's something that I'm really going to push a little bit more. I would like for everyone to say it with me, or I'd like to think that everyone is. Now, kids, everybody say it. I am now happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. Nobody can say, well, that's not very good. That's a great thing to say to yourself and about yourself as a mantra or as an affirmation, whatever you want to call it. Anywho, so I wanted to start this episode with something that I have written on Substack recently, posted on March 2nd. But on my Substack, I've been posting quite a bit of stuff. I've put a few excerpts in there from the memoir. I've been writing about writing the memoir. My latest post is just kind of what's been going on during the memoir writing process. And it's weird because I have kind of had I've had to take some breaks from writing here and there, because it's weird because I have found myself in a position where I feel those old symptoms again. I mean, like actual physical withdrawal symptoms again. Now, they're very mild, very, very mild, and it's very brief, but nonetheless, I am experiencing them. Since August of 2017, that's nearly 7 years at the time of recording this, I have been sober. So clearly it's all in my head, but that just kind of shows you the whole mental side of addiction, how your mind can make you feel like you're having physical withdrawal symptoms. It's crazy. Now, like I said, it is very mild, but still noticeable. But I kind of looked at it like this. I'm like, wow, it's caused me to write more from in the moment. Please kind of stay with me. It's making it more of a real, raw, and authentic writing than it would be had I been just writing from memory. Now, I mean, I've always intended for this to be very authentic. And so that way when someone is new to sobriety and they're in those critical first few months where they feel terribly alone and they really just need a resource. My vision for this memoir is so that someone who is new to sobriety can grab it as a book or as a PDF or whatever and read it and feel that someone else is feeling those same things. Someone else has done all those crazy things, hiding drugs and clenched between their cheeks, when they're interacting with police or whatever. Some of those crazy stories that we have from when we were in active addiction. So, anywho, that's the vision for this memoir. So therefore, it has to be authentic. It has to be very real, because we've said it a lot and many times. Addicts, and maybe it's because we dealt with a lot of bullshit on the streets, dealing with drug dealers or dealing with other addicts or whatever, but our bullshit meter is pretty freaking strong, and not a whole lot gets by, and our tolerance for that is not very good. So you can't BS your way through something like this. It has to be real if you expect for true addicts in recovery to buy into this project. So, of course, I've always said I've got to make sure this is very authentic. But now I'm kind of excited about the authenticity of it, because I'm like, not only am I writing from memory, but at this time, while I'm writing about what it feels like, to wake up in that morning when you are dope sick and how it feels. I was actually kind of feeling it. Not a lot. Please understand. It wasn't like a super strong withdrawal symptom. And also, please understand, it did not put me at any risk of relapsing. In fact, it probably strengthened my resolve to stay sober, because that's a feeling I never want to go back to again. So this has been good in a lot of ways, but it has caused me to have to take a few breaks from writing the memoir. And that's where Substack comes in. That's where I've been doing some more podcasting, or at least researching and things like that. Anyway, so I'm going to read something from Substack. How about that for a big old setup? Jeez, dude, just get to the point, right? Anyway, this is called Keep Riding the Wave. Use momentum from wherever you can get it to move forward, onward and upward. My life has been an open book for going on 7 years now. More specifically, it has been so since August of 2017, when I finally, once and for all, got sober. When I finally humbled myself enough to accept the fact that I couldn't do it my way, or at least I had to accept that I had to adopt a new way to claim as my own. I know how hard it is to admit to yourself that you have a problem and are totally out of control, and then openly admitting it to the world or whoever cares enough to want to know. So, with the podcast, My Sober Addiction, and on here, to a much lesser degree on YouTube, I have spoken out. This is me speaking to my Substack audience. My intention has always been to speak to addicts who are newly sober and are trying to find their way in this new life. Most have been in the throes of addiction for so long that they don't even remember what being normal even is. To this I say, screw being normal. We don't have to blend into the collective. However, it is a very personal decision with a lot of factors involved, so do what works best. My goal is to speak for those who are new to sobriety but do not want to speak up. But, more importantly, I am speaking to them. I am here to help them feel not so alone and voiceless. It's a very unique situation you find yourself in when you're newly sober. No friends being a big one, unless you're active in NA or AA, which is an awesome resource and place to make new sober friends. You've got to be careful, though, because you are around people who may be one step away from relapse, and you do not need that temptation around you. Outside of those groups, there is really no one around who truly understands what someone is going through in those early days. This is one of the reasons I started the podcast. To give people something they can listen to. Someone who has been there and understands where they are in their lives. I often talk about momentum and how we can use the momentum that was created when we got sober to springboard us into doing amazing things with our lives. We should take momentum from wherever we can get it. Yes, I'm saying to take full advantage of and exploit the fact that you just did something amazing that created an enormous shift in the direction of your life and went from going the wrong way to not only going the right way, but going the right way at 1,000 miles per hour. My point? Don't take your foot off the gas. Decide what your next moves are quickly and start doing it. Decide what you're going to be and then be it. Don't try to be it. In my case, I am a writer and a podcaster. That's what I do. That's what I am. If you're not sure what that is yet, that's okay. But I would suggest you do something and do it quickly while you still have momentum. Be of service to people. Mow that nice lady down the street's lawn for her. Do the things you wouldn't usually do. Go by unexpected ways. Walk unfrequented paths. Those are words that I have learned from Jason Brashears of Archaics.com. There are some mantras that you can use to direct your life, to tell your subconscious mind and the higher power what your intentions are. I am now happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. And everything is now working in my favor. In my not so humble opinion, are some good ones. That's all I've got for now, loved ones. Have an amazing day, and remember that you are absolutely not alone and you are loved. Much love and respect. Now, that was me closing out that particular Substack post. I'm not telling you goodbye here on the podcast. Not just yet. No, but I am strongly considering making the shorter episodes. Going to work on the consistency of releasing these podcast episodes. I've kind of asked a few questions here and there from a few people who listen to it, and it does seem that is something that would be welcome. They don't have to be a half an hour long or whatever. I'm like, well, they usually aren't a half an hour. 25 to 30 minutes. I think the last one was like 34 minutes, but whatever. So I read those two quotes from Jason Brashears of Archaics.com. I don't believe that those are his, but I do have to give credit where it's due, and that is where I got those. Go by unexpected ways. Walk unfrequented paths. So, the path of the human collective is all but set. Actually, I'm of the opinion that it is set. It seems that if it ever veers off course, then a reset occurs, or better yet, a correction. Now, these are things that I have learned from watching, again, Jason Brashears with Archaics.com. But anyway, I may be getting a little woo-woo here, but there are cases of entire civilizations of people who simply disappeared without a trace. The Maya, the Anasazi, they were in the American Southwest. The Easter Island Polynesians, where the Easter Island, what is it, Moai? Good grief, somebody's going to get me for that one. Or the Khmer Empire in Southeast Asia. All of these civilizations pretty much disappeared without trace. Sure, people have tried to say, well, this is what happened to them, or that was what happened to them, or whatever. Well, that's all fine and good, except there's no real evidence of them having mass die-off. They were there, now they're not. Their ruins are there, but there's no, outside of just regular burial sites here and there that you would find in any village or town, there's no real evidence of some big massive die-off. Where did they go? Well, the theory is that they were part of a reset. Maybe they got too big for their britches. Anyway, I'm not getting into that. I was just really wanting to show how the collective, meaning our civilization, the human collective, is on a set trajectory. And if they do get too big for their britches, then a reset or a correction will be made. Yes, this does heavily imply simulation theory, and that's fine. I am coming around to that, and I'm probably leaning more towards that. Certainly not in the way of The Matrix. The Matrix movie is it's an excellent movie, and there is a lot of things in there that you can point to and say, look, this is very much like our current reality. Sure, but that's when we're speaking of the collective. That's the blue pill people. We are red pill people. We are individuals who have separated ourselves from the collective. Yes, we're still members of the collective, but our path is veering away from their path. The fate of the collective doesn't have to be of any concern to us. There are those of us who choose a different path, who choose to not conform. And how do we do this? Well, one of the big things that we do, again, thank you, Jason Brashears of Archaics.com, we break pattern, like I've already read. We go by unexpected ways. We walk unfrequented paths, meaning we do things differently. And we don't make our intentions known. A good example would be drive a different route to or from work. If you've been driving this exact same route to work, hey, it's the shortest route or whatever. That's fine. But just one day out of the blue, just decide I'm going to take a detour. And instead of going left, I'm going to go right. Now, maybe it's going to take me an extra, 5 to 10 minutes to get to work going that way. That's okay. I'll be fine. I'll still make it. Just do it. Just throw reality a curveball. Break your pattern. Do something completely different than what you've always done. Another, your evening routine. If your routine is to come home from work, have a little siesta or whatever, and then let's say at 6:30, 6 or 6:30, you decide to let's start making some dinner. Like Taco Tuesday is a perfect example of staying in patterns. I love Taco Tuesday. We all love Taco Tuesday. However, why can't we do Taco Monday? Because it doesn't sound as cool. All right, fine. You're right. It doesn't. Taco Tuesday just rolls off the tongue. But you get my point. We do things that that are not in our normal pattern. Like, for example, another one. If a lot of people go to the grocery at a particular day and time of the week. Let's say you go I always go grocery shopping on, well, if you're me, you end up going to the grocery several times a week, but that's a whole other thing. But there's a lot of people they go to the grocery store on Saturday afternoons or whatever, and they buy the groceries for the week, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Maybe instead go Friday night, buy groceries for half the week, and then go again on Tuesday. These are just random ideas, just anything to kind of get your mind working about how little things that you can do that would break the pattern of your life. Because if you keep doing the same things, you keep getting the same things. A lot of people like to go out to dinner, like Friday nights. Friday night, get off work, yay, it's the weekend. We're going to get cleaned up and all that good stuff and go out to dinner. Well, you can do that on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or any night. In fact, you may be better off to do that anyway because it would be less crowded, possibly. Anyway, that's just another idea. Just something to do to break pattern. Whatever your traditions and customs are, just change it up. But if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. So if someone who knows you pretty well was asked, what is he or she doing right now? Or where are they right now? If they can accurately answer that question, then you're probably too predictable. You need to change it up. Now, I understand if you're at work, if you got a work schedule, I've got a work schedule too. So if you were to ask on Monday at 9 a.m., where's Matt? Well, he's probably about to go to lunch. Yeah, I go to lunch between 9 and 9:30 in the morning. No, I'm never going to be used to that. Because while I do go to work at 4:30 in the morning, so therefore by 9:30, I have been up long enough where most people will go to lunch. It's still 9:30 in the morning. It still just feels like 9:30 in the morning. It's kind of like when I worked night shift and people would, by night shift, I mean like really late, getting off at 5 a.m. There was a lot of people who would get off and then they would go home and drink beer and, I don't know, play video games, whatever it is that they did. To them, you could see it as more like 5 p.m. 5 p.m., get off work, go have some beers, blah, 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 go to bed. But people would do it on the other side of the clock at 5 a.m. And they're like, well, it's all the same. It's the end of the day for us, winding down. I'm like, yeah, but it's still 6 a.m. And it feels like 6 a.m. in the air. It's morning. It feels like morning. So change things up. If the overseer, if this world knows how predictable you are, knows exactly what you're doing, and can see it, this person, it's Tuesday. Okay, well, this person is going to make tacos tonight. This person is going to get in the shower about 8 o'clock, and then whatever. Be in bed by 9:30. Now, granted, I know you got to get to sleep by a certain time so that you can get up in the morning and be ready for work. But I mean, a more extreme case could be go ahead and take a shower earlier, or go to bed earlier, get up earlier. And instead of sitting up and reading at night, maybe get up in the morning and read or meditate. Just something to shake things up, something to break up your patterning, the pattern of your life. So throw reality a curveball every chance you get. The collective, the world, humanity, whatever, they can all go to hell in a handbasket. And they probably are. But individuals don't have to, because we are separating ourselves from the herd. By doing that, we are forcing the overseer of this reality that we have found ourselves in, the overseer, to pay attention to us, to try to figure us out, to make the overseer of this have to expend energy, to try to corral us back into a group, to make it spend as much energy on you, an individual, as it does on an entire groups. This overseer will give you what you want in an effort to pigeonhole you into a group. But upgrading your group or your lifestyle, it's like, that's fine. You want to get out of that group where there's a lot of lack and go to this group where there's more of whatever it is that you want. Great. I'll put you in that group. Fine. I just cannot sit here and spend energy on you. Those are called reality tunnels, according to the RKX research. And the RKX research, reality tunnels are the path you are going down in your current life. If you want to go switch over to a different reality tunnel, you have to do pattern breaks and intentionally set your mind on those things. And then, yes, you do have to get into action and put some skin in the game. Unlike law of attraction, you do actually have to work. You do have to do something. Give it a means to get you there. And once you have switched it up, upgraded to a better reality tunnel, again, you're going to be in a pattern again. That's the whole thing, is to get you back into a pattern. Do the whole thing all over again. Keep throwing the curveballs. Keep throwing reality curveballs and switching up your patterns, switching up your routines. Kind of make it so that this overseer of this world or whatever, every time you do that, it's like, good grief, man, what does this mofo want now? So it has to stop and expend energy on one individual rather than kind of just looking over an entire group. In the archaic research, it's called reality tunnels. So anyway, there's that. I guess that's my big message of this one, is pattern breaks. Break up your routine, your pattern. Just do little things. I mean, big things are great too. If your normal weekend routine is to do whatever, if you're able, spontaneously take a little road trip. And it doesn't have to be far. Like here in Lexington, Kentucky, where I live, we can hop on I-75 north and be in Cincinnati in an hour. And there's a lot of really cool stuff to do there. And a lot of times it's the same things that are here, but sometimes it's just good for you just to get out of town, isn't it? Go up and just kind of, if possible, get a room, stay the night. You don't have to. You can go up there and just have dinner and walk around down at the river, whatever. But spontaneously, just boom, just go do something completely different and off the wall. You may be amazed at some of the things that you'll run into. You may be amazed at some of the opportunities that present themselves to you. In fact, I'm almost certain of it. But I can't exactly guarantee it, of course, right? But what I am trying to convey to you is, and I'm not trying to get all woo-woo about it, because I know that I've mentioned some things for reality tunnels and throwing this overseer of this reality a curve and all that. And, you don't have to go with me on those things. That's fine. But like I said, the message I am trying to convey is break pattern. Do something different. Do things that you don't normally do. If you see something that you do like clockwork, something that makes you so predictable, change it up. Go for a walk. It's springtime now, as of the recording of this. It's spring 2024. And where I live, there's some amazing places to go hike. And I'm talking about just trail hiking at one of the parks. There's one called Raven Run Nature Sanctuary. Absolutely beautiful place. beautiful. And it's not far, 15-20 minute drive out of town. Bam, you're there, and it's gorgeous. And they got a bunch of different trails. None of them are difficult. Okay, loved ones. I'm going to close this with I'm going to read another entry from my Substack. This one is called Big Crazy Prolific Message. Just kidding. Sometimes the best messages are the most basic. Originally, I posted this on Substack on February 19th, 2024. Sometimes we put undue pressure on ourselves to show up, or to go big or go home, or whatever. Like with these posts, I occasionally feel like I have to write something profound, some nugget of wisdom that I've learned, or some grand insight into something. Sure, it would be nice to have some fantastic inspirational message every time. I'd love to get on here and drop some life-changing wisdom every time, but it's just not necessary or possible. Sometimes the simplest message can be exactly what we need to hear. It's a beautiful day outside. You are alive. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, and you can choose for it to be amazing. Do this. Exhale all the air you possibly can out of your lungs. I mean, really just force it all out. Really push it all out. Pull your shoulders in tight in front of you and completely flush out all that old stale air. Hold it there for a count of 3. Take a deep breath in through your nose, completely filling up your belly and expanding your chest. Take in a couple extra sips of air through your mouth to completely fill your lungs. Then relax and let your chest expand, holding it for a count of 3. Then repeat this whole thing at least 3 times. If you really want to be thorough, then follow that up with a good 10 to 20 long, slow, deep breaths in and out. This will raise your vibration and make you feel fully alive and awake in the present moment, this eternal now. Much love and respect. And that is a little breathing exercise that I think is very important. I have studied some on Wim Hof, W-I-M, Hof, H-O-F. He's got a very cool story, but he's insane. He like hiked up Mount Everest in his bare feet or something crazy like that. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, he's pretty much the reason why all these people are doing all these ice baths and these ice plunges. Like Joe Rogan has his big ice bath thing out in his yard where he dunks himself under. And I understand there are a lot of health benefits to that, but whoo, man. So anyway, the Wim Hof method or whatever, they start out with just cold showers, like do 10 seconds in a freezing cold shower. And then they work up to where they're pretty much doing their entire shower and at the coldest water they can get. Anyway, that whole breathing thing, because if you'll notice, a lot of times when you're breathing, you never completely exhale. So there can be air that's kind of gets stuck in your lungs and it's old and it's stale. So by completely exhaling out all the air we can possibly get out of our lungs and then filling them all the way up, even to the point where and then when we're kind of there, we're taking a few extra little sips right there and hold that and just feel your chest expand. It really is, it's a nice feeling. And then completely exhale all that out again. Make sure you really flush it all out. So, loved ones, I love you. All I really want to talk about today is breaking pattern, finding ways that we can throw reality, a curveball, something you can do different. It doesn't have to be something dramatic. It could be something as simple as doing Taco Tuesday on a Monday. Okay, loved ones, if you do support the show, I super appreciate it. It has been growing. I'm humbled by it, really. I am, especially given the fact that I was not being very consistent with my releasing of episodes. If you would please give me a quick rating or review, you can Follow me on the Substack. It's just Matt Stevens. My handle on there is Matt Stevens 369. If you go to substack.com or if you download the app is really cool. I've found a lot of really cool writers that I'm now following, and it's a nice little community. It's kind of like Reddit, but it's not as wild and crazy. Substack is kind of where I'm just posting my random thoughts, my little blurbs and stuff, like those. I've read 2 of them on this episode. So if you want to follow me there, YouTube, I do have some things on there. It's Matt Stevens, MSA for My Sober Addiction. That's my YouTube channel. I'm not doing a whole lot there. I would like to, though, and I have no subscribers on YouTube. If you would, please go give me a subscribe on there, because there are some things I would like to do on there, but you do have to have a certain amount of subscribers before you can do them, such as live streaming. There's some really cool stuff that you can do with that. I've put some videos on there, but I really haven't pursued YouTube, and I've been told that that's a mistake, and I need to do that. So I'm like, okay, fine. I guess I'll do that. Anyway, so if you would, loved one, please go to YouTube. Like I said, it's Matt Stevens, MSA, and give me a subscribe. That would be fantastic. And give me a rating and review on wherever you get your podcast from. Whenever you're listening to this, I would so appreciate that. There's all kinds of ways to show support. I'm not at the point where I'm asking people for donations. I'm just saying, if someone felt compelled to, you are able to do that. There is a support the show button. Anyway, loved ones, that's what I got. And I love you. Please remember, we are now happy, healthy, wealthy, and free.
There is a distance in the light.